So the Nauvoo Pageant is a theatrical production that is put on every year. It goes on for about 4 weeks, and it has hundreds of cast members, and they kind of rotate on a weekly basis. And they have lots of people applying that want to be in it, and so they wanted a website to manage the applications and the choosing of who was going to be in it and so on. So I started this in 2005 for them. So I get kind of yearly opportunities to redo this site. And every few years I like to kind of change things up on the back end and how it's run. And so recently, a couple years ago, I decided to try Angular 2. Not my favorite at this point, but it gave me some experience and let me know what it was like. So this is how it works. Now, for privacy reasons, I skipped this link over here where you see a list, a table list of the applicants, and you can select whether or not they were accepted to be in the pageant, or ones that didn't even finish their application. You can even look at. But I moved on to this page where you can see by age kind of the layout of the people that are in the pageant. So we have a lot of youth, and then adults next. And you can, like I said, every week they rotate the cast and they have them colored, and so you can go down and just see the demographics for a particular cast. So they use this to make decisions as to, okay, we're thinking about accepting these people. Do they fit in with the demographics that we want for the pageant? There's a photo directory and summaries of meals that people have requested to be provided for them that they're paying for, and memorabilia. And then there's also a permissions page. There are the various groups have different people that are in charge of them, and so they have kind of this hierarchy of there are certain people that can access everything on the website, and some people that can only access a certain type of application. Now, I logged in as an administrator, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search for one of my accounts that I did kind of as a test to apply. And so here it is, and if I click on it, it'll transfer me over to the application from the user's perspective, not the administrator. So you can see I can enter which pageants I've already been in, and contact information. I can upload my picture or just drop it here in this image area. I can say when I would be available, what pageants I would be available for. There may be multiple people in an application, so a family would apply all together, and so each of the family members would appear here, and they could say specific days that they would be available if accepted. And then they can also kind of pick their preference. If there's a certain cast that they would prefer to be in, they can choose those in order of preference here. And again, there are the different types of groups that they could apply to be a part of. And there's a few other categories. If you get to if you get through these steps and you get to the final step, it gives you a warning if there are certain parts of any of the previous pages that weren't completed. So there's a verification of certain things that have to be entered, and this will list one problem on each of those pages, so they're not overwhelmed, but they can click on this and go back to that page, fill it in, and then come back to the status page and see if there's anything else they need to fill in. And they can sign up for meals and for memorabilia. The prices show on those pages, but also here in a summary that's available on any page. And then they can go to the invoice. Now, they wanted to be able to print this and send it in. They weren't quite ready to accept credit cards. I was anxious to set that up for them, but they weren't able to get approval at the time. So they need to print out this invoice, but we wanted to not print out this other stuff. So there's this ability to switch into print mode to print it. And then because I'm an admin, I don't see the other buttons here, but when I'm logged in as just a regular user, I can lock that invoice, and you have to lock it in order to get into the print mode. And then if they want to make any changes, they have to contact someone to unlock their invoice again for them. So this site uses RethinkDB on the back end for the database, and the database is small enough that it actually pulls the whole database into the browser. And then as people make changes, because there are lots of people involved in this project, when you go to update information, if I were to click here, you can see up here it says updating database. It takes some time, send the information out the database and come back. So the user gets some warning if something happened and the database is not available. But other than that, any changes that someone else makes gets pulled in immediately and is visible to all users, whatever browser they're using. So there's this kind of constant stream of deltas in the database, and those get reflected in all browsers that are currently open.